Michael Porter Jr. has officially become dangerous. Ever since MPJ was drafted, it was pretty clear that this guy was an extremely talented young player. But after dealing with a bunch of different injuries, eventually MPJ had a nice streak, which he's currently on, where he's been relatively healthy for the most part. And ever since MPJ has been healthy, he's been playing very well. He shows off his great offensive repertoire in basically every single game. In terms of his individual scoring ability, it's pretty clear that MPJ is one of the more talented guys in the NBA. But although MPJ is really good in terms of his individual scoring ability, there has been one major flaw in MPJ's game that he's really assessed during these playoffs as a whole, but especially during the Los Angeles Lakers series. And I think due to the adjustments he has made during these playoffs so far, that just turned MPJ from a really good player into a very dangerous player. But quickly, before we get the video started, for those of you who may not know, I'm Juicy Sports. I make opinionated NBA content, and if you guys enjoy videos similar to this, hit that subscribe button, that like button, and that post notification bell. I also want to quickly mention that I recently started up an MMA channel, and if you guys are interested in that, the link will be in the description. But anyways, let's get into it. It's pretty clear that Michael Porter Jr. is an extremely talented player out there. And when you talk about the more talented younger players in the league, Michael Porter Jr. has to be on that list. He's a guy that has the capability to put up 30 plus on any given night and just go off really whenever he wants. But the question is, why is MPJ so good? What does he do well out there that makes him so talented? So the great thing about MPJ is he's a true 3-level scorer, but starting with his 3-point shooting ability, this is definitely the best aspect of his game. MPJ has a phenomenal catch and shoot 3-point jump shot, and a huge reason for why it's so effective is he has such a quick release out there. But even besides that, he's also very tall, obviously, and very athletic. That gives him the ability to jump pretty high on his 3-point jump shots, which just makes it that much more difficult to get a good contest on it, and basically impossible to block that 3-point jump shot. But even besides that, MPJ does a really nice job at creating for himself from that range as well, in terms of the crossover into a 3-point jump shot, sidestep, or even step back. But moving on to MPJ's mid-range game, he also has a pretty nice mid-range game, although he doesn't utilize it all that much. But MPJ has a pretty nice one dribble pull-up, he has the ability to hit a post turnaround fadeaway, he has the ability to hit that catch and shoot mid-range jump shot, crossover, or even sidestep as well. But once again, although he does have all those abilities from that mid-range area, it's not necessarily something that he utilizes all that often. But I think as time progresses and as he gets more comfortable in the NBA and as he improves certain aspects of his game, I do think his mid-range game is going to turn into a huge aspect of his game, specifically that post turnaround fadeaway, because I think he has the body and athleticism that's perfect for that jump shot, and that shot, as I mentioned in a lot of my videos, just makes a really good offensive player into a great offensive player, and I do think that's something huge that MPJ could add within his game. But moving on to his driving and finishing ability, this is also a great aspect of his game as well. MPJ obviously is extremely athletic and definitely has the ability to posterize players at times, but most of the time what MPJ does once he gets a full head of steam driving to the basket is finishing around players with crafty layups, either his left or right hand. But he also has the strength and athleticism that's required to finish through players and get N1 finishes as well. MPJ also has a pretty nice floater within his game, and it's pretty clear overall from top to bottom, he has a really nice ability to score from any level. But mostly, as I said before, what MPJ does well out there is shoot that catch and shoot 3-point jump shot. And we've really seen that throughout these playoffs as a whole so far, but especially in the Los Angeles Lakers series, as he was being very effective with that specific shot. So it's pretty clear that he's an extremely talented young player, but a question that some of you may be having at this point is, what is that major issue that a lot of fans point to when talking about MPJ? The major issue that a lot of fans point to when they talk about this guy is his lack of passing and playmaking ability. Because obviously when you talk about a guy who's as talented offensively as MPJ is, you aren't necessarily expecting them to be a phenomenal passer and playmaker. And when you look at the Nuggets specifically, they already have that guy in Nikola Jokic, so it's not like they need that extra guy that's a tremendous passer and playmaker. But when you talk about everybody on this roster, but specifically a guy who's as talented offensively as MPJ is, you really need that guy to have the basketball IQ and the ability to dish off the ball when he's getting doubled or triple teamed, or just when he's not open whatsoever. Because not only does that help other guys on your team and helps your team overall, because guys are getting more open looks and probably hitting more shots, but also in turn it's going to help MPJ as well. Because if the opposing defense knows that he's willing to move on from the ball when he's not open, they're going to be a lot less likely to throw double or triple teams when MPJ is having very good individual scoring games. Because if they do send those double or triple teams, the defense knows that MPJ would be willing to find the open guy for easy layups or wide open shots in the corner for a 3-point look, and it would just be much more difficult for that opposing team to win that game or get stops in general. So I think the fact that he's been looking to move the ball a little bit more in this series against the Lakers than he really ever did in the past really opened up a lot of different things for him specifically, but also made the Denver Nuggets as a team even better. Because although Jokic always finds the open guy and it seems like he always makes the right decision, obviously he isn't going to play 48 minutes out there. So at times when MPJ is out there on the court and he's the main scoring threat that they do have on Denver, it's very important that he has the ability and capability to move on from the ball when he's not open. And that's really been something that we've been seeing a lot more from him as of late, and I do think that shows some growth from MPJ. But the question at this point is, where do I see the Denver Nuggets going from here? As they did just have a very impressive performance as they just swept the Los Angeles Lakers and they're now currently in the NBA Finals. Well, in my opinion, I think their matchup against the Miami Heat is going to be a very interesting one. Of course, nobody expected Miami to be nearly as good as they are, but the fact that they were able to make it this far is extremely impressive. And at this point, it's pretty clear that everybody, including myself, needs to stop underrating this team, as Jimmy Butler and the rest of his teammates on the Miami Heat are obviously very dangerous and extremely talented. But with that being said, I do think the Denver Nuggets have the more talent on their roster. I actually think that's pretty clear, and at the end of the day, I do clearly also think they have the better player on their roster in Nikola Jokic. So although I do think this is going to be a surprisingly close matchup, I do think it's going to go to either 6 or 7 games. I do think at the end of the day, the Denver Nuggets are eventually going to figure out a way to win this series and win their first ever NBA championship. I think Nikola Jokic is going to play extremely well in the series. He's going to do a really nice job to look for his own shot when he needs to, but of course he's also going to do a tremendous job at finding his teammates for open looks as well. I also think Jamal Murray is going to have the series of his life. I think he's been playing at completely another level than he ever has been in any other playoffs, and I don't think that's going to change in the finals. I think he's going to play great. I think he's going to hit that 3-point jump shot at a really high level. I think he's going to be very efficient and effective as a whole as well, to be honest. And overall, I just think Jamal Murray is going to have a tremendous series. I also think Michael Porter Jr. is going to be very effective. I think he's going to hit a lot of those catch and shoot 3-point looks that he's going to inevitably get in the series. I also think he's going to have certain games where he looks to score for himself in other ways and becomes very effective with it. And overall, I just think this Denver Nuggets team is very deep and very talented. And overall, I do think they're going to be a little too much for the Miami Heat at the end of the day. But anyways, I guess only time will tell what does end up happening for the Denver Nuggets. But anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think at this point Michael Porter Jr. should be considered dangerous, or do you not think so? But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did enjoy, check one of these 2 videos popping up now. And until the next time, peace out, guys.